Hi, I'm Tiffany Calvert, Family and Consumer Science Extension Agent in Ohio County. Today's lesson is Vegetarian 101. And so, right off the bat, I'll ask you, are you a vegetarian if you eat chicken and fish, but not pork or beef? And it's kind of a tricky question. And we're going to learn in today's lesson that there are many types of vegetarians. It's not just people who don't eat animal products and people that do. And so that was a little bit of a tricky question. So we'll go through the definitions of all the different types of vegetarians. So today's goals would be to define definitions associated with vegetarianism and veganism, and then why people choose to eat like this, why they choose that lifestyle. We're going to cover specific nutrients that may be of concern if you do choose this lifestyle, and then just considering some small steps that you can make to improve in your health. So, to the building blocks of good nutrition, what that consists of is your carbohydrates, your protein, fat, vitamins and minerals, and then of course water. And so, we've already covered who would choose to be a vegetarian, and that's all walks of life. And just a little fun fact, Albert Einstein and William Shakespeare were both vegetarians. So that was just a little side note. So why would someone choose to do this? For health reasons, some religion reasons, animal welfare. Maybe it's just that they want to protect all the animals in the world, and they that's the way they want to, anything that has a face, they don't want to eat it. Family and friends could have been an influence. The environment, or for financial reasons, can all be possibilities that might make someone choose to live a vegan lifestyle. So let's go back to the health reasons. Vegetarians might see the following health benefits: a lower death rate from coronary heart disease, so it could improve your heart health. Lower LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. It can lower your average blood pressure, and it could also lower the incidences of type 2 diabetes and lower death rates from colon cancer. So you can see it definitely has some health benefits. Now let's get down to the definitions. Okay, so a vegetarian, vegetarians enjoy a plant-based diet that does not include the flesh of any animal. Vegetarians generally eat foods produced by animals, including honey, milk, and eggs. The vegans abstain from eating animal-derived products, including meats, dairy items, honey, and eggs. Most also will not use any animal products, including leather, wool, or silk. So that would be the hardest to follow. And then you also have a lacto-ovo vegetarian, which they enjoy the plant-based diet, but that includes dairy products and eggs. And then a lacto vegetarian, which lacto would mean dairy. They consume dairy, but they do not consume any eggs. And then an ovo vegetarian, they enjoy eggs, but no dairy products. And then there's also such a thing as a flexitarian. That would be a person that sometimes they choose that to pursue that type of diet, and then sometimes they don't. So it just depends on how far you want to take it. So possible nutrient challenges. This is what we really want to focus on, because we always want to make sure that we eat a well-balanced diet. Okay, we can't just omit protein, for instance. We got to find a way to fill in the gaps. And so the nutrient challenges that we're going to be talking about is B12, calcium, iron, protein, vitamin D, zinc, omega-3 fatty acids. And so for vitamin B12, sources for that could include your fake meats, which are your veggie meats, that could be a tofu, a soy protein product. A lot of your ready to eat cereals will say that it's fortified with B12. So then you also have your vitamin supplements where you can get B12. And then dairy products such as milk, cheddar cheese, yogurt, and eggs. For calcium sources, you want to look for your calcium fortified beverages, figs, beans, tofu. Be sure to get the tofu with the calcium added. Almonds, blackstrap molasses, mustard greens, kale, turnip greens, bok choy, collard greens, soybeans, and dairy products. For iron, we can turn to legumes, soybeans, some veggie meats, those are your fake meats, pine nuts, pumpkin seeds, blackstrap molasses, quinoa, and tofu. And so we'll, look at the different recipes later on where you can get some iron. Protein, you can look for, there's a variety of foods that have protein in it. A mixture of grains, beans, nuts, seeds, milk and dairy products, and also eggs. Vitamin D, and you can actually get vitamin D from sunshine just by getting outside. But if we want to find it in the foods that we're consuming, we want to look for the fortified foods that have been fortified with vitamin D. That would include soy milk and some other plant-based milks, cow's milk, breakfast cereals, and supplements. And then for zinc, we want to look for our whole grains, our wheat germ. And if you're unfamiliar with wheat germ, I keep a jar of that in my refrigerator. It can be found generally in the baking section where your flours and sugars and all that are found. And it looks kind of like sawdust. But wheat germ, you can sprinkle it into any casserole, spaghetti. I toss it on tops of my salads sometimes. So and it doesn't have a real strong flavor. And there you're adding zinc to your entrees. Tofu is another good way to get zinc. Legumes, nuts, seeds, eggs, dairy products, zinc fortified cereals, and then your veggie meats as well. And then the last nutrient concern could be your omega-3 fatty acids. And that can be found in flaxseed, flax oil, hemp seed oil, canola oil, walnuts, and tofu. And then there's also algae supplements that you can get that would have your omega-3 fatty acids in it. So I just want to, encourage anyone, if you're thinking about drastic changes in your diet, take one small step at a time. If you never really consider going vegan, then, and it's interesting to you that you could actually get some health benefits from doing so, just take it one step at a time. Maybe just find a new favorite recipe that you do at least once a month, that doesn't have any animal byproducts in it. Try adding a boiled egg, slicing that up and adding that on top of a salad in place of your chicken or your steak. There's meatless burgers that you can try. And then just keep nuts and seeds on hand and eat more of those. Stir fry without meat. You can add tofu in there, but you can actually just make a vegetable stir fry. A lot of times when we have fajitas at the house, we either do chicken fajitas or we just do vegetable fajitas that add more squash and zucchini and all those good garden vegetables in there. Casseroles that don't include any meat. And, just ask yourself, instead of concentrating on what is for dinner and first going to what your meat choice is going to be, just ask yourself, what is my protein? Because we can get protein, as you've seen in this lesson, from several different sources. And so ask yourself, what's my protein? And then start there and build your meal based on that. So start with stuff that you already do. If you're already making beef burritos, then make bean burritos. That's still a protein. You can still add your salsa verde or whatever your sauce of choice is to those burritos. If you generally have ground beef with spaghetti, try throwing some fresh mushrooms in there rather than your ground beef. Usually, if you cover it with spaghetti sauce, even if the kids don't prefer to eat mushrooms, a lot of times chop them up smaller, they'll never know. Jambalaya, rather than your sausage, just have red beans and rice. And then for chicken stir fry, you can include your tofu. So I hope some of these suggestions will help you get started. For further recipes, contact your local extension office for more plated up Kentucky Proud recipes.